Nearly all of us have experienced a rush of heartbreaking sentiments during a commercial break when one of those ASPCA ads comes on and utterly kills the mood. Now, before you grab for the remote control to switch the channel, it might shock you to learn that the majority of animal shelters are presently experiencing a new crisis. According to the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, more than 23 million American families, nearly 1 in every 5 in the country, adopted a pet during the COVID-19 pandemic. Due to problems brought on by the pandemic, there are around 100,000 more dogs and cats in the United States shelters waiting to be adopted than at this time of last year. At animal shelters, intake has grown while adoptions have dropped, creating a problematic environment for life-saving efforts and for the first time in many years, resulting in an upsurge in shelter euthanasia. Animal shelters in cities all around the country are in complete disarray, and the issue does not appear to be improving. A large number of Americans who brought pets into their homes during the first COVID-19 outbreak in March of 2020 have encountered financial upsets and logistical hurdles as they attempted to foresee the path of the pandemic and also planned to work and social events in person. Now, as you can guess, these unexpected adjustments disrupted all of these people's everyday routines. The everyday ritual of opening up your laptop and logging into work gradually became outdated. Our new normal shifted constantly as the pandemic advanced. If you owned a pet well before the pandemic, you presumably already had a daily routine. But if you acquired your pet during the pandemic, you're establishing this schedule together now, and the challenge of abruptly leaving your pet alone for lengthy periods of the day might be difficult. Because the animal is now dealing with something new, an abrupt shift in the owner's routine might induce stress and worry. This leads to separation anxiety, which occurs when dogs get distressed due to separation from their owners. Escape efforts by dogs suffering from separation anxiety are frequently intense, resulting in self-injury and property devastation. When faced with these obstacles, several owners consider boarding their pets or looked into daycare options. As a result, many pet daycares and boarding facilities around the country reported months-long wait lists, and newly adopted pets frequently lack the socialization required for boarding, which creates a cascade effect of problems on top of problems. Separation anxiety was not the only adjustment that new pet owners had to make once the world reopened. Some pet owners were facing additional fees of up to thousands of dollars as they prepared to return to normal life. According to market research firm Euromonitor International, Americans spent $21.4 billion on non-medical pet supplies through November of 2021, plus another $28.4 billion on dog and cat food. Prices for veterinary services also increased by 10% during that year, which is the largest such increase in data extending back 2 decades. The expenses often force pet owners to choose between scraping together the funds and surrendering their beloved pet, owing to the unfathomable expenditures. During the pandemic, it was more frequent for families to lose their employment or for money to become scarce due to the inflow of other household necessities that needed to be purchased at the time. All of these variables have contributed to severe shelter overcrowding. According to recent shelter data, there are approximately 60,000 more dogs and 40,000 more cats available to be adopted currently than at this time last year. The Omicron influx had also put a significant pressure on shelters by limiting shelter hours, lowering in-person volunteering, and reducing adoption events and pet care support. Open admission shelters face some of the most significant problems because they have to accept all animals regardless of their ability to care for them. This can cause massive turnover and population congestion issues that other institutions do not have to endure since they can control admittance, screen for infections, and impose quarantines. This also imposes a burden on animal shelters because there simply isn't enough space for all of these animals. To continue to flourish, the animal sheltering community relies mainly on a network. What appears to be taking place is that the intake levels that existed prior to the pandemic appear to be returning to that level of intake. The progression of animals from high intake to high adoption communities is mandatory for keeping national adoption rates higher and euthanasia rates lower. This situation is dire, as many pets are not being given a second chance, and there has never been a more pressing need for a solution. Thank you.